Hey everyone, it's Zoe Paulson. Happy March and welcome to Buff Sports Live. We have a lot of exciting stuff to get to, so we can just jump right in. Last night, the 24th ranked CU men's basketball team ended the season on a good note, beating Arizona State 75-61 in the final game of the regular season. McKinley Wright had a game high of 25 points, and the Buffaloes are hoping to carry this momentum into the Pac. Speaking of McKinley Wright, the point guard has been leading the Buffaloes for the last 4 years. Last night's game against ASU was most likely his last game ever at the CU events. Buff Sports Live's Vinay Simlot has been following McKinley's career closely, and he has this.
Tonight was McKinley Wright's final game here at the CU Event Center. The Buffaloes beat ASU 75-61, and afterwards, McKinley talked about how important this final game in this stadium was for him.
This gym meant so much to me, being in this arena, the fans, my coaching staff, my teammates, and playing on that floor a lot, man, and practicing on that floor every day. It means a lot to me, man. I'm hurt that it's my last game here, but I left everything I had here. So,
coming into Colorado, the 6-foot freshman point guard may have been overlooked as a college basketball player, but from the very beginning, we saw that McKinley Wright would not let his teammates or his opponents overlook him. We saw him in the very first practices, hustling on every play, fighting for rebounds against seniors, some of them who were much taller than him. In the end, McKinley Wright finished as the first Pac-12 men's basketball player with 1,700 points, 600 assists, and 600 rebounds.
I feel like I've been overlooked, but it's nothing new to me. I've grown up this way. It happened in middle school, happened in high school, happened in college. So for me, it's nothing new. I've always played with a chip on my shoulder.
At the end of the game, Tad Boyle and McKinley Wright shared a long hug, and afterwards, Tad Boyle was emotional when he talked about the impact of McKinley Wright on this program.
I'm going to miss that kid, and I just told him how much I love him and how much I'm going to miss coaching him. But I'm going to miss coaching all 7 of those seniors. But McKinley Wright is he's going to go down as one of the greatest players in Colorado basketball history, and what he's done from where he's come from, what he's overcome it's really, really special.
In 2017, McKinley Wright came to Boulder wearing Spencer Dinwiddie's famous number 25. Now, 4 years later, after playing his final game at the CU Event Center, McKinley will join the mayor as one of the best point guards to play here in Boulder and maybe even in the Pac-12.
The men's basketball Pac-12 tournament starts next Wednesday. 11 of the 12 teams in the Pac-12 will make their way to T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. This season, because Arizona is self-imposing a postseason ban, the top 6 teams in the conference will get a first spot. With the standings as they are now, Colorado would have a bye, so they'll most likely start playing on. The women's basketball team unfortunately ended their Pac-12 tournament run with a loss against Washington. Yeah, the 6th-seeded Buffs were upset by the 11th. Coach J.R. Payne said after that despite preparation and focus, the Buffs were simply outplayed. Senior Maya Hollingshed and freshman Frida Foreman both earned 16 points, but it wasn't enough. The real killer was the 20 turnovers, which led to 29 points for the Huskies.
Well, I'm disappointed with the outcome of the ball game, clearly. I thought Washington outplayed us today, and our preparation had been really strong. Our team had been very focused. We were ready to play. But I think Washington came in with really sort of nothing to lose, and they played very loose, and I thought we played very tight. And, the looser they got, the tighter we got, and that kind of snowballed in the wrong direction for us.
Geez, that was a rough showing for the Buffs in the Pac-12 tournament. That leads us to this week's trivia question, so let's get ready, everybody. On that note, we were wondering, when was the last time the CU women's basketball team had a winning record within their conference? Up next, we'll get a look at the newest football schedule. Plus,
if you can listen, think, and react, you can be a good interviewer.
He's been on the sidelines of some of the most famous sporting events in the last 40 years. Hear from Jim Gray on the lessons he's learned as a journalist and as a...
And Mike and Q talent in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mike up on 2. All right, take 1. And fade camera 2. Take 3. Ready, red. Roll red. Take cam 1. Take red. Take it. Come on, roll red. Let's go. All right.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just calling the show.
There's no show.
It was a great week for our CU ski team. Junior Philip Forstek was named the Alpine MVP in the giant slalom for the men of the Rocky Mountain region. This means he gathered the most NCAA qualification points throughout the season, beating the second-place skier by only 1 point. He's currently the second-ranked giant slalom skier in the country. Congrats to him, and good luck to our skiers at the NCAA tournament next. Well, the football schedule is finally out, and we've just heard from the Pac-12. Colorado will open their season against Northern Colorado, then a game against Texas A&M at Empower Field at Mile High in Denver. Homecoming against Oregon State. Remember how that went last time? Colorado blew a 28-3 lead. Either way, the Buffaloes will begin practice soon. Coach Carl Durrell says Sam Neuer probably won't get a lot of reps in the spring because he's still recovering from an injury from last season. Quarterback Brendan Lewis will be taking the snap. Coming up after the break, we've got even more Buffs news for you, so stick around, everybody.
They were nervous and inexperienced, as new faces looking to achieve greatness. As the years went on, they grew confident in their abilities.
Maybe. Yes, sir!
Now they look to guide others in the same pursuit.
There it is! Can you believe it?
All are welcome to be featured on the biggest stage.
Is it his time? Yes!
We invite you to discover what you're capable of at BuffSports Live.
Jim Gray may be one of the most influential sportscasters in America over the last 4 decades. He's interviewed boxing greats, been on the sidelines of Super Bowls, majors in the PGA Tournament, and the NBA Finals. Last week, in part 1 of our interview with Jim Gray, he discussed some of the big sporting events in his lifetime and what they mean to our society. This week, in part 2 of our interview, Jim Gray talks about his life, his career, and the lessons he's learned along. Here's Vinay Simla.
You've been on the sidelines for so many historic moments. People call your questioning style prosecutorial sometimes. Do you consider that a fair assessment? And how did you sort of develop your questioning style?
Just natural curiosity. Tried to give, whatever I thought I was curious with to the audience who was receiving it, and figured that if, that's what I was seeing and thinking, perhaps that's what they at home were seeing and thinking. So when you say prosecutorial, well, if that means being able to elicit the proper information from people who have played the games that we love to watch, and it can give them a better understanding, then I'm happy with that style. I'm not trying to augment or change it. Not everybody's going to like what you do, okay? I learned that a long time, but I know that my wife likes it, know that my dog likes it, and I know that my friends are going to give me the proper and constructive criticism. And when it's good, they'll let me know. And when it's bad, they'll tell me so that I can improve next time. I don't think about a style. I'm not trying to do anything for style. I'm just trying to do the best I can to satisfy those first 3 constituents: the people you work with, the people you work for, and the audience who you're serving.
In his more than 40 years as a broadcaster, Jim Gray says he's learned there are 3 keys to asking good questions.
If you can listen, think, and react, you can be a good interviewer. It's very hard to do. The luckiest thing that happened to me, the biggest break that I got, was I was a videotape editor. So I could edit everybody else, all the reporters and all the anchormen. I would hear and see everything that they did. So I would see the good questions, the bad questions, what needed to be edited out, and how to put together the story so that it was cohesive by the time it went on the air. It was a great lesson because I could see where they were making mistakes, and everybody does. It's not even mistakes, but you could just see where the questions were good, concise, and crisp. Or you could see where they were meandering and offline, and then you couldn't use the answers because it didn't fit the story. That was important to be able to see that. The other thing that was really important, I would be in my edit booth after the 9 news. And we had 4 monitors. And up on one monitor came Nightline, America Held Hostage, back during the Iranian hostage crisis. And on came Ted Koppel, who was the host of Nightline. And this guy was brilliant. He was a brilliant newsman. So I would look there and he'd be throwing all kinds of answers by all kinds of guests. And boy, he could think and react after he listened. Listen, think, react instantaneously. Okay? So he was prepared because he had all the information. And then he could take whatever his guest said and have a follow-up question that was pertinent to what was said before. Okay? I'm thinking, wow, that's spectacular. Then I'd look at the other monitor and it was Johnny Carson. And he was doing the exact same thing, maybe even better, in a totally different genre, okay, in comedy. And he was making you laugh, but what was he doing? Think, react, listen, think, react. Whatever they said, he didn't have a plan to go to the next question, which a lot of interviewers did. And so that taught me right there. Know what you want to talk about, have an idea, but be flexible and listen, and then try and think and react. And so that was a long answer to your question. And if that means prosecute, then prosecute. See, I brought it back full circle there, right?
With all the GOATs he's met and the lessons he's learned, Jim Gray says his personal GOAT is his father.
The one lesson that he taught me, I think that I probably think about the most, go about things in the right way, to do it, you know, with integrity and with honesty. Relationships are important and relationships will last. And he also taught me, you know, don't do anything half-ass. If you're going to be a sportscaster, be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. And that still applies at age 61. Okay. I still get excited to go talk to Mike Tyson and to be a part of that event and to be able to talk to Tom Brady on Monday nights, you know, the greatest quarterback in the history of the National Football League with 6 championships. That's still, you know, I get rejuvenated and I want to do that. And I want it to be a better question that causes him to say, you know, I hadn't thought about that. That doesn't mean I'm competing with anybody. I'm not competing with any other sportscaster. I'm competing with myself. Can I be better? And can I do the best? And hopefully, you know, by doing that, you know, it all will work out.
Thank you, Jim. And Jim's book is full of all of the relationships that he mentioned. It's called Talking to Goats, the Moments You Remember and the Stories You Never Heard. And you can buy that at your bookstore. It's out now. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good luck to everybody at CU. Appreciate it.
Coming up after the break, Georgia has her first ever segment of Rapid Fire. Stick around, guys.
This deserves a second look. Michael taking off, the patented tongue comes out. Just in front of that line. Look at this, the double clutch, the reach out. Pass in left wing, looks behind him, wide open, right wing, up top, open for 3, fires.
Really good basketball, Mark. Unselfish, smart basketball.
Open for 3, fires, nothing but nylon from downtown. Good ball move by Colorado.
Hi, I'm Georgia Worrell, and today I am coming at you with what this weekend looks like for our Buff athletes. Today is a big sports day for the Buffs. Today, the cross-country team is competing in the Pac-12 men's and women's cross-country championships in San Francisco. Our other teams are also facing California rivals. The volleyball team has 2 matches this weekend against UCLA, one Friday evening and one Sunday morning. Both will take place at the CU Event Center. The tennis team will play against UC Berkeley Friday afternoon, then Stanford on Sunday. Their matches will also take place on our home turf. The soccer team, however, is in California for their match against UC Berkeley. They will also play against Stanford on Sunday on their turf. Can I get a Go Buffs? Back to you, Zoe. Hey everyone, don't worry, the wait is over. It's finally time to hear the answer to this week's trivia question. Earlier we wondered, when was the last time the Buffs had a winning record in the conference? And the answer is the 2012-2013 season. That's right, it's been a minute. The Buffs have had 4 winning seasons since then, but for some reason the Pac-12 teams have just had their number. Since that 2012 season, the best conference record they've had was 6-12, excluding this season's shortened 2-3. Well, on that note, we have to say goodbye. As usual, I had an amazing time telling you all there is to know about being a Buffs fan. Thanks for watching, subscribe to the YouTube channel, make sure to drink some water, and have a fantastic weekend.